IMBUE Paladin uses the imbue mechanic to be able to create massive boards and massive board swings. The idea behind it is that you're looking at using the imbue minions that come from it to be able to become an overwhelming board presence, in along with Ursel and renewing flames to be able to deal with the late game on them. Once you've done that, you end up having a board states that become too overwhelming for your opponent. The cards that you're looking to mulligan for in the deck are the imbue sort of minions and cards. So you're looking for the one mana spell that imbues. You're also looking for the Murloc that ends up having a death rattle to draw a dragon. And in addition, you're looking for the Goldpetal Drake because it imbues your hero power twice, once it gets played and once when it dies. And you're also looking for the Bitterbloom Knight because it once again imbues your hero power. And with the imbue only costing 1 mana, that obviously makes it a lot easier to play on curve and use your mana the most efficiently that you can. And then once you end up doing that, you do find that you're in a state that you will be able to become quite aggressive towards your opponent. You'll notice that I ended up grabbing the new 4 mana minion as well, the Taunt Warden, I think it's called. And the idea behind that is it ends up drawing a card that you've used. It ends up drawing a card that you put into your deck, and with the imbued dragons that end up getting put in, that is a card that is one that didn't start in your deck, so it gets the extra buff and it draws that card as well, which is obviously quite powerful to be using. The going into the gameplay, I am trading into the 4/4. Like, it was a pretty awkward sort of trade. I did make it so I could get the extra imbue, so I could get a bigger minion, and I luckily ended up getting probably one of the strongest of the 4 mana minions with the 6/6. Being able to do the 3 damage AoE obviously will clear the board that they have there. So it ended up being the best minion that you could get from that, but in general, dragons are relatively strong compared to other tribes, and you'll find that even if you're getting, say, a 5-drop dragon, usually it'll be worth or more valuable than the lower costs that you'll find. I end up using the Redscale to be able to obviously get an extra dragon onto the field, but it also means that I'm setting up some more as well. And with the imbue, it also means that you're drawing an extra card in addition to it because it is getting played. So you're getting that extra value coming from the card too. The renewing flames that I have in my hand will be useful when I have the Ursel. Like, I could potentially start using the weapon this turn to get the Ursel because it means that I'll be able to get the renewing flames activated for this future turn that's coming up. With the board that they currently have as well, I am wanting to obviously clear that Twilight Drake. I don't really want to be having that around. And by using the Consecration as well, it does mean that my 4/7 gets its spell burst, which doubles its attack. So obviously that'll be quite useful in terms of dealing more damage to my opponent. I end up using my minions to trade in, and then I go face with the 2. So at the moment I am sitting in a relatively decent position. With the Malorone in my deck, it does mean that I won't be able to guarantee getting the Ursel using the weapon, but with my hero power that I have here, it does mean that with my renewing the flames here, it does mean that I'm sitting decent enough anyway. They end up using their weapon swing. I do draw onto Ursel here, so I do just slam it down onto the field. In terms of my play here, I use the weapon to go face, but using it to hit into a minion wouldn't be terrible either, just simply because of the fact that it would mean that I deal an extra 2 damage doing it that way, an extra damage doing it that way, but it means that I take extra damage. Like, I don't really need to worry too much considering my hand and the board state that I do have. And with them using their Eternal Flame there as well, it does it does mean that I do have a full board clear on them, because I'll be able to just use my equality and then my flames to be able to heal back to full, but also deal the damage that I need to finish the game. So yeah, like, ultimately the deck is relatively strong. You do find that it curves out really well, but you do need to make sure that you are thinking about your options and how you're going to best use the cards that are there. Getting the draw when mechanic minions out is quite powerful as well. Like, you do get to a board swings that are a lot stronger than other decks can really handle. So you just need to try and get to those immune minions and get up to the state that you can. I end up opting to keep the Flutterwing Guardian in this hand along with my Bitterbloom Knight, just to make sure that I do get the extra buffs going onto my hero power. The Warden obviously is quite strong as well. With the Bitterbloom Knight in my hand, I wouldn't normally use the coin here unless I do get another Bitterbloom Knight, because of the fact that the coin has its value throughout the entire game. And as you can see, I did draw into another Bitterbloom Knight, so I use the coin here to make sure I'm getting the value. So next turn will obviously be Bitterbloom Knight, then it'll be the Dragon, and then it will probably be the Flutterwing Guardian, and then I'll coin, and then I'll hero power and use the 4-drop. So pretty much like the idea behind the deck is you are looking to play on curve and play on tempo onto your opponent. I draw onto the Redscale and Amalgam here. I trade the 2-3 just in case they have some sort of buff to go onto it. There's not really any worry that I have at the moment to deal damage to the opponent's face rather than getting rid of the minion on the board. I draw onto the Maul here, which can obviously be quite useful in later turns. In general, you want to use the Maul since this deck does have Ceaseless Expanse once you've drawn one of the cards that are the higher cost. So the Ceaseless Expanse, the Ursul, or the Malrone. And in general, that's the sort of idea that you're looking for, just because of the fact that you want to be able to somewhat pick what your cards are going to be from it. They end up doing a full trade into the minions that I have on the board. I use the hero power, and then I use the dragon, and then I get the extra dragon coming out of the field, just because I don't really want to be dealing with this sing-along buddy too much. I could have used the Flutterwing Guardian then, but because of the fact that they have the hero powers coming out, they'd be able to trade quite well into it, and I don't really want to have a board state that is exceptionally weak to their minions that they can trade with, so I did want to apply a little bit of pressure going into that. I draw into the Renewing Flames here, which is perfectly fine. I use the hero power and play the Flutterwing Guardian, so it is in a somewhat similar situation, but because of the fact that they've used the sing-along buddy now to make it into a 6-3, it means that they can't do it as an efficient trade into my 4-4 without getting rid of a bunch more of their minions, which is obviously the reason why I decided to go for that sort of style that was there. They play down their Annoyotron, so once again, it's not really too concerned for me. And they trade into my minion. It got rid of a few of their cards, and they obviously had to take the face damage, but that's perfectly fine for me. I draw into another Flutterwing Guardian, so I can buff up my dragons some more if I want to. I end up getting rid of the Divine Shield, obviously, on the Annoyotron, and then I'm playing down the Righteous Protector just to create some more minions to deal with potential threats that they may end up having on their board, and I end up getting two good 6-drops coming from it with the 2/3/7s, so they obviously can deal with a lot of the minions that my opponent potentially could have, especially once their Death Rattle ends up getting the 4/4s coming out of them. This board is relatively weak to a Corpse Explosion, which I think is what they end up doing in this situation, but it does mean that they don't end up getting anywhere with this turn, so it means that I'll be the one that will have the pressure going into the following turns, and they've also used all their corpses as well. I draw into the Ursul here, which is really strong for me, and then I play down the Warden because it is starting to get to the point where my board state is going to be stronger than theirs, and I wanted to apply as much pressure as I could going into this turn. They end up using their Airlock Breach, but once again, they only do have the 3 corpses there, so they're not able to get the extra 5/5 out of their deck. And I do just slam the Ursul down here. I trade into the 5/5 using the 5/6, and then I use the 7 and the 3 to go face, so it puts them down to 1 health with the Renewing Flames that's here. And with the pilot that I have in my hand, I can use that obviously to trade into them, and they end up just I think leaving and not conceding, so I think they just rage quit after that. I use the consecration here just because I need to use my do my quest for it. But if you've enjoyed the content, sorry about no audio as well. Please like and subscribe, and bye for now.